Today we are diving into the fascinating story of Delian League, a coalition of Greek city-states that began as an alliance to fend off the Persian threat, but eventually became the foundation of Athenian power. How did a defensive alliance turn into an empire dominated by Athens? Just stay tuned to find out. Our story begins in the early 5th century before Christ, right after the Greeks had managed to defeat the mighty Persian Empire at the famous battles of Marathon, Salamis and Plataea. The Persian Wars were not over, though the Persian Empire still posed a threat, particularly to the Greek city-states along the coast of Asia Minor. In 478 before Christ, the Delian League was formed. It was named after the island of Delos, where the League's treasury and sacred temple were located. The purpose? To continue the fight against Persia and protect Greek territories from future invasions. Athens, being the largest naval power in Greece, was chosen to lead this coalition of city-states. The League members, numbering around 150 city-states at its peak, either contributed ships or paid money to fund the fleet. Initially, the Delian League was a defensive alliance, with all member states having a say in decision-making. However, as Athens grew more powerful, the League began to change. Athens started using the contributions not just for defense, but for its own projects, buildings, temples, enhancing its navy and even beautifying the city. A turning point came when Athens moved the League's treasury from Delos to Athens in 454 before Christ, signaling its growing dominance over the League. Some members of the Delian League became disillusioned with Athenian leadership. Cities like Naxos and Thasos tried to leave the League, but were forcefully brought back by the Athenian navy. Athens began treating the League more like its empire rather than a coalition of equals. Member states were no longer free to leave, and Athens imposed its own currency, laws, and government structures on many of the cities. This shift in power led to increasing tensions between Athens and other powerful Greek city-states, especially Sparta. These tensions would eventually erupt into the Peloponnesian War in 431 before Christ. The Delian League, once formed to defend Greece against Persia, had transformed into a tool for Athenian imperialism. Athens used the resources of the League to finance its war against Sparta, further straining the already fragile alliance. The Peloponnesian War ended in 404 before Christ with the defeat of Athens by Sparta. The Delian League was dissolved and Athens' empire collapsed. What had started as a noble effort to protect the Greek world from foreign invasion had turned into a story of power, dominance, and eventual downfall. The Delian League remains one of history's most intriguing examples of how alliances can shift into empires. What began as a mutual defense pact eventually spiraled into imperial control, showing us that the thirst for power can sometimes erode even the best of intentions.